What if the universe had been trying to answer you all along, but you were just listening on the wrong frequency? Maybe the problem was never the absence of signs, but rather the way you were listening. Imagine you're turning the dial on an old analog radio. You know that static that comes between stations? That's noise, interference. Only when you hit the exact right frequency does the music start to play, clean, clear, immersive. Now think, what if the universe worked the same way? What if it's always been transmitting, always sending signals, but your internal antenna was out of tune? With every emotion you feel, every thought you feed, you're emitting something. A vibration, a unique energetic pattern. You're a walking station, and the universe, in turn, responds not with words, but with frequency. But here's the key, each person has a different energetic dialect, a unique way of perceiving these responses. For some, they come as clear images. For others, as quiet intuition. Some feel chills. Some hear the same sentence 3 times in different places and know, that was meant for me. And that brings us to the question that will guide everything we're about to explore. What is your dialect with the universe? Do you know when you're in tune with it? Or have you been mistaking deep signals for disposable coincidences? In this video, we'll explore communication with the universe in a way that bridges the latest in science, physics, neuroscience, psychology, with the spiritual wisdom ancient traditions have always known, that we are connected to everything all the time. We'll talk about energy, about how the brain shapes the reality we perceive, about the unique energetic reception styles each person has, and how to develop yours. Don't expect ready-made formulas. Don't expect hollow mysticism. Expect clarity, connection. Because once you understand how communication with the universe works, and more importantly, once you discover how you work, everything begins to make sense. The repetitions, the silences, the coincidences, the intuition that saved you even without logic, the path that opened up when you simply trusted. Are you ready to tune your antenna? Let's explore the mysteries together, with our feet grounded in science and our hearts open to the subtle language of the soul. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This quote, often attributed to Nikola Tesla, holds a truth that transcends time, science, and spirituality. Everything in the universe vibrates. Absolutely everything. The atoms that make up your body, the sound of your voice, the thought that just crossed your mind, the emotion you're feeling right now as you listen to these words. Everything is made of energy, and all energy vibrates at a certain frequency. Modern physics, especially quantum mechanics, no longer sees matter as something solid. What we call matter is, in fact, a dense vibrational field. You are not a solid body walking through the world. You are a conscious vibration interacting with other vibrations. And here's the most fascinating part. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you vibrate. It might sound harsh, but it's actually liberating. You can wish for peace. You can pray for abundance. You can repeat 1,000 positive affirmations. But if, deep down, you're vibrating fear, scarcity, guilt, or doubt, that's what the universe reflects back to you. It's like trying to tune into a jazz station while your dial is stuck on heavy metal. No matter how much you love jazz, as long as your frequency is off, what comes through the speakers will be noise. In spirituality, we've heard for centuries about raising your vibration. But what about science? It's beginning to explore this too. A fascinating example is David Hawkins' map of consciousness, which measures emotional frequencies. Emotions like shame, guilt, and fear vibrate at very low levels. Love, joy, and gratitude, on the other hand, operate on higher frequencies. That means when you're living under the weight of dense emotions, your energetic broadcast is set to a frequency that attracts more of the same. You become a magnet, not for good or bad in a moral sense, but for experiences that resonate with your dominant vibration. And if this still feels too esoteric, just think of how you feel when you walk into a heavy space, a room where there was a fight. You feel it in your body. The vibration of that place shifts your internal state. Now think of the opposite. Have you ever been near someone who calms you just by being there? That too is frequency. So the universe is a vibrational mirror. It doesn't hear your words. It feels your frequency. And most importantly, that frequency isn't fixed. It can be changed, adjusted, refined. But this isn't done through positive thinking alone. It takes awareness. It takes recognizing the emotions that vibrate within you, embracing them, and then transmuting them. The universe is generous. It always responds. But you need to learn how to speak its language, the language of vibration. And this language has a unique accent that belongs only to you. That's what we'll begin to explore from here on. If the universe responds to your vibration, then we need to understand who or what defines that vibration. And the answer might surprise you. Much of your energetic frequency is shaped not only by your emotions, but by the way your brain perceives the world. Let's start with a fascinating structure, the reticular activating system, or RS. The RAS is a neural network that acts as a sensory filter. It determines what you consciously notice and what gets ignored. Imagine your brain is receiving millions of bits of information every second: sounds, colors, smells, sensations, thoughts. It would be impossible to process everything at once. So the RAS steps in to filter what's relevant to you. And how does it decide what's relevant? Simple, based on what you focus on repeatedly. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, especially the ones you revisit most often, train your brain to notice certain patterns and dismiss others. That's why, when you learn a new word, you start seeing it everywhere. Or when you're thinking of buying a specific car, it suddenly shows up at every stoplight. The car was always there. So was the word. But now your brain's filter has been programmed to notice it. And here is where the link between mind, energy, and manifestation begins. If you constantly feed thoughts of scarcity, your RS begins to filter the world through that lens. You start to notice only what confirms your belief and ignore what contradicts it. In other words, the world around you begins to feel truly difficult, but it's you who's adjusting the lens. The name for this? Selective confirmation. Science has already shown that we carry a powerful cognitive bias. We seek to validate our existing beliefs, even unconsciously. Now enter the concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to rewire itself based on the stimuli it receives. Each time you repeat a thought or emotion, you strengthen a neural pathway. It's like stepping on the same patch of grass every day. Over time, a trail forms. That's how mental habits are built. They become your default frequency. And guess what? The universe reflects what you emit most, even when you don't realize it. But there's something even more powerful we need to consider: the subconscious. You might consciously say, "I want prosperity." But if, deep in your subconscious, there's a belief, perhaps inherited from childhood, like "money corrupts" or "I don't deserve success," that belief operates like a silent vibration. You don't see it, but you feel it. And that's what the universe hears. This is where the placebo effect becomes a scientific example of manifestation. The patient believes they're taking real medicine, when in fact, it's just sugar. But the belief is so strong that the body reacts as if the treatment were real. Recovery curves, hormonal shifts, real physiological changes, all occur without anything real being administered. The mind creates the reality. The vibration follows. On the other hand, the nocebo effect shows that negative belief also has impact. People can worsen their health simply by believing they're at risk. In other words, your perception creates your world, and the brain is the great conductor of this invisible orchestra. It selects what you see, amplifies what you feel, and all of this together shapes the vibration that the universe reads to respond to you. So what happens when you change your way of thinking? When you choose to notice things that raise your frequency? When you decide to reinterpret what once limited you, you begin to see a new world. But here's a powerful reminder. You're not just observing reality. You're creating the reality you observe. In the next section, we'll dive into the most magical and at the same time, most practical part of this journey. How each person has a unique, energetic dialect. And why discovering yours is the first step to aligning your communication with the universe. Maybe you've already wondered why some people seem to see signs in everything, in repeated numbers, symbolic dreams, unlikely encounters, while others seem to notice nothing. The answer isn't luck, and it's not about secret mystical gifts. It lies in what we call here your personal energetic dialect. Yes, the universe speaks to everyone, but it doesn't use the same language for each person. It's as if the universal language had different transmission channels, and each of us tunes in more clearly to a specific one. Discovering your main channel of reception and learning how to develop it can completely transform your relationship with life. Let's now explore the 4 main styles of connection with the universe. And maybe, as we go through this journey, you'll discover your own. If you're the type who notices visual patterns easily, who's moved by symbolic scenes, who has vivid dreams or often sees numbers like 1111, 222, 333, this may be your primary channel. People with this style receive messages from the universe through images, colors, shapes, and symbols. Sometimes it's a butterfly that appears at just the right moment. A book on a shelf with a title that shouts a message. A billboard with a phrase that answers the exact question you were pondering. How to use this channel better. Practice creative visualization during meditation or before sleep. Make vision boards with images that represent your desires and emotions. Write down your dreams. Many are messages in visual metaphor. Observe your surroundings with intention, as if looking for clues. Key phrase: the universe shows me what I need to see. If you're sensitive to words, sounds, songs that play at just the right time, conversations that seem to carry answers, or have an inner voice that guides you with clarity, this may be your most active channel. The auditory language reveals itself through lyrics with meaningful refrains, phrases you hear in multiple places, like an echo, or internal thoughts that arrive with the weight of wise advice. This channel is especially common among those drawn to speaking, teaching, music, or deep listening. How to use this channel better? Listen to subliminal audios or affirmations through headphones while relaxed. Record yourself speaking your intentions and play them back like a mantra. Pay attention to verbal repetitions, names, advice, expressions. They might be signs. Cultivate silence. The voice of intuition often whispers. Key phrase: The universe whispers, and I hear it. If you get chills when you hear a truth, if your body reacts with goosebumps, a tightness in your chest or gut in certain situations, if you feel it in the air when something's wrong or right, then your dominant channel may be kinesthetic/emotional. Here, the universe's response doesn't come through words or images, but through deep physical and emotional sensations. You feel before you know. You intuit before you think. This channel is common in empaths, healers, therapists, artists, anyone who feels the world. How to use this channel better? Practice body scanning in meditation. Identify where tension or expansion lives. Learn to distinguish what's yours from what belongs to others. Empaths absorb energy easily. Use grounding techniques to reconnect with your center. Allow yourself to feel without judgment, without rushing, without overanalyzing. Key phrase: my body is a compass. It feels the truth. This may be the most mysterious and the most subtle of the channels. If you get sudden insights, as if a response drops into your awareness without logical explanation, if ideas come out of nowhere and decisions feel right for no apparent reason, then your main channel might be intuitive cognition. Here, the universe doesn't send images or sensations. It simply activates inner knowing. You know, but you don't know how you know. And that's okay. Not everything needs to pass through logic to be real. How to use this channel better? Practice intuitive journaling. Write uncensored, let the flow lead. Create contemplative silence so insights can emerge. Trust first impressions. Intuition often comes before ego. Make space for doubt without freezing. Intuition doesn't demand certainty, it asks for trust. Key phrase: the answer was already within me. I just needed to listen to the silence. It's important to remember, you don't have to pick just one. We all have all 4 channels. But usually, one style feels more natural, the one where signs show up more often, more clearly, or more emotionally. And just like any ability, these channels can be developed. The more you practice, the more you tune in. The more you tune in, the more fluent you become in your own dialect with the universe. In the next few days, choose to pay attention to how signs come to you. Do you see? Feel? Grab a notebook and jot down every intuitive moment or meaningful coincidence. After a week, you'll likely notice a pattern. That pattern is your natural energetic language. And the more you honor it, the more the universe speaks to you in your own language. Many people think that communicating with the universe is like placing an order with the invisible waiter of destiny: ask, wait, and hope the right dish arrives. But that view is limited. Communicating with the universe is much more like building a relationship. And every relationship depends on resonance, active listening, real exchange. You don't just speak, you emit. And you don't just hear, you receive. This brings us to one of the most important keys in this entire process: vibrational coherence. That's when what you think, what you feel, and what you desire are in alignment. Think about it. You want change, but you keep feeding the same old thoughts. You want peace, but you live in a rush. You want love, but you're afraid to open up. You want signs, but your mind is somewhere else entirely. The universe picks up your real frequency, not the speech you rehearse. It's like trying to hear music on a radio full of static. Even if the melody is playing, the mental noise of anxiety, doubt, or excessive control distorts the sound. You might even receive the signal, but it arrives scrambled, confusing, easy to dismiss as just your imagination. That's why it's so important to tune your inner antenna. And the first step in doing that is to cultivate presence. Being present doesn't just mean being physically somewhere. It means being vibrationally whole in that moment. When your attention isn't trapped in the past or projected into the future, that's when the universe finds a window to speak to you clearly. It's in that presence that you notice the detail you used to miss, the glance that holds an answer, the coincidence that carries meaning. Now pause and ask yourself, what's creating static in your signal? It might be an overload of thoughts. It might be fear of being fooled. It might be the habit of rationalizing everything to the point of draining the magic from any moment. The noise isn't the problem. The problem is believing it's the only station that exists. There is silence within you. There is space between one thought and the next. And it's in that space that the universe loves to speak. Another essential point: don't confuse communication with control. Communication with the universe is fluid, alive, constantly shifting. Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes it's not yet. Sometimes it's a silence that invites you to dive deeper. You're not here to control the universe. You're here to dance with it. And dancing requires listening, resonance, presence. So, align your thoughts with your emotions. Align your intentions with your vibration. Breathe. Be still. Feel. And above all, remember, the truer your frequency, the clearer the communication channel becomes. Have you ever felt something caught your attention for no logical reason? A number that shows up again and again. A phrase you hear in different places, spoken by people who don't know each other. An animal that crosses your path at a sensitive moment. Or even a book that falls open to the exact page you needed to read. These are not accidents. They're signs. But signs, contrary to what many believe, aren't obvious answers like a note taped to your door. They are subtle, discreet, and often so simple that a rushed mind dismisses them entirely. The truth is, the universe doesn't shout. It whispers. And only those who are present, available, and sensitive can truly hear it. Signs can come in many forms. A line in a song, a symbolic dream, an unlikely encounter, a sensation in the body, or even the classic, mysterious silence. Yes, even silence can be a sign, but we'll get to that in a moment. First, let's understand, why does the universe communicate this way? Because it respects your free will. Signs are not commands. They're invitations. Invitations to see with new eyes. Invitations to shift your path. Invitations to trust, even without all the answers. Imagine the universe as a wise teacher. It doesn't hand you ready-made responses. It suggests directions. It stirs your intuition. It offers. But the final choice is always yours. That's why trying to decode signs from a place of control, does this mean I should do X or Y, can actually distance you from the deeper wisdom behind them. The rational mind wants logic, but the universe responds to the soul. This is one of the deepest spiritual discomforts, the silence. That feeling that nothing is happening, that the universe isn't responding. But here's a profound truth. Silence is also an answer. Silence can mean many things. That you need to hear yourself before you can hear the universe. That you already know the answer, but you're afraid to accept it. That it's not the time yet, and the soil is still being prepared. Sometimes, the universe goes quiet so you can learn to trust. Other times, it goes quiet because you're looking outside for something that can only be felt within. Here's the paradox. The more you try to force a sign, the more it hides. It's like trying to grasp water with clenched fists. Only when you relax does it stay. A woman is going through a difficult time, questioning whether to leave a relationship. One morning, she mentally asks for a sign. As she walks out the door, she sees a bumper sticker on a parked car. If you're not happy, you're not in the right place. Coincidence? Maybe. But in that moment, it struck something inside her. A phrase that might mean nothing to others became a living answer to her soul. That's the power of synchronicity. When the universe aligns with your inner state and responds in symbolic form. Not to control you, but to remind you that you're being guided, even in the details. The biggest mistake is turning your connection with the universe into a guessing game. Asking obsessively, wanting validation for everything, replacing the heart with constant doubt. True communication is born from trust. You feel the sign, and you no longer need proof. Because the universe doesn't want to control you. It wants to walk beside you. It wants to be your partner in this journey, not an all-knowing oracle for every single step. So, observe, receive, feel, but above all, trust. Because the most powerful signs aren't the ones that shout, "Do this." They're the ones that quietly light something in your heart and whisper, "You already know." Now that you understand how the universe communicates and have begun to recognize your own energetic dialect, comes the most transformative part. How to tune in with more clarity and intention. Because yes, you can strengthen this channel. Communication with the universe isn't a gift reserved for a few enlightened ones. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be cultivated, refined, and deepened. Below, you'll find simple yet powerful practices to help quiet external noise, align your inner frequency, and open space for signs to flow more clearly. Grab a notebook. Choose a time of day when you feel calm and grounded. And write as if you're speaking directly to the universe. No filters. No worry about grammar or structure. Just speak. Share what you're feeling, what you're seeking, what you wish to understand. Then close your eyes and breathe. After a moment of silence, open the notebook again, but this time, write as if the universe were answering you. Don't overthink it. Just allow. You might be surprised by what comes through. This exercise, known as intuitive journaling or channeling through writing, is a direct bridge to inner wisdom and the vibrational field where all answers already exist. Remember the 4 styles: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and intuitive? You can personalize your meditative practices based on your dominant channel. If you're visual, use guided meditations with imagery, or create vivid mental scenes of what you want to attract or understand. If you're auditory, opt for mantras, binaural beats, or meditations with soft music. Listen closely. Sometimes the sound carries the message. If you're kinesthetic, focus on the body. Body scanning, deep breathing, and mindful attention to physical sensations. If you're intuitive, sit in silence. No guidance, no expectation, just full presence and surrender. By adapting your practice to your natural style, you become more receptive to the language of the universe, and less likely to force methods that don't resonate with you. Affirmations aren't magic spells. They don't work just because you repeat them. They work when you vibrate them with truth. Instead of saying, "I am prosperous," while feeling completely disconnected from it, take a deep breath and say something you can actually believe in that moment. Try, "I'm learning to trust that prosperity can find me. I'm open to possibilities I couldn't see before. Even afraid, I choose to keep going." The more sincere the affirmation, the stronger the vibration. And the universe responds to the emotional truth behind the phrase, not the words themselves. We live in a noisy world. Constant information, notifications, comparison, urgency. And all of that creates interference. One simple yet deeply effective practice is to create airplane mode moments. Not just on your phone, but within yourself. Choose a moment in your day to disconnect from the outside world. Turn off your phone. Step away from screens and conversations. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, and simply be present. In that silence, you can ask the universe a question and just listen. Or simply remain there, allowing your soul to speak beneath the noise of the mind. This is the space where the purest signs are born. Consistency with lightness. You don't need to turn your life into a checklist of mechanical rituals. Choose what resonates with you. Adapt it, test it, allow yourself to play with the invisible. Communication with the universe is a dance, not a math equation. And the more you enjoy the dance, the more fluid everything becomes. You're not trying to convince the universe to respond. You're simply making space to hear what it's already saying. Let's return to the question that started it all. What if the universe had been trying to answer you all along, but you were listening on the wrong frequency? Now that we've walked this journey together, maybe you've realized that the answer was never outside of you. It has always been pulsing within as a unique, personal, sacred vibrational field. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself in individual form. And when we speak of communication with this greater intelligence, we're not talking about magic or mysticism in the fantastical sense. We're talking about reconnecting with what you already are. Everything vibrates. You vibrate, and the universe responds to your vibration, not to what you say, not to what you pretend to feel, but to what you've become. That's why the key isn't in asking harder, nor in trying to decode signs like external riddles. The key is turning inward, recognizing your unique way of connecting, listening to your intuition, your body, your inner imagery, feeling the signs, trusting the unseen, even without rational proof. With every thought you tune in, with every emotion you broadcast, with every conscious act, you're speaking with the universe, even in silence. And when there's alignment between what you think, feel, and believe, when your presence expands without static, when you no longer beg for answers, but live as someone who already knows, the universe sings with you. It's not about trying to control reality. It's about remembering who you are within it. You are part of the web. You are living frequency. You are a bridge between the visible and the invisible. And the universe speaks no language other than your own. You just have to relearn how to listen with your heart. So, at the end of this video, here's the invitation. What is your dialect with the universe? Visual, auditory, sensory, intuitive, or a blend of them all? In the days ahead, observe. Listen with attention. Be present. Maybe a song will speak to you. Maybe a phrase will strike something deep within. Maybe silence will hold you like never before. And when that happens, take a deep breath and smile, because you'll know that was the answer only you were meant to understand.